Kenya Crafts presents Plo Koon Cosplay Belt. All right, let's get started. So, the first thing I did was get my big sheet of EVA foam and I am cutting it out I'm going to do a 3-inch belt because I think it's really more for fashion than for holding, up his robe. So, always make sure, measure twice, cut once, as they say. I know that's for carpentry, but that works just as well for fabric and foam. All right, and so I cut my extra piece in half. I really wish that I had been more precise. It probably would have taken me less time if I would have just taken some measurements. So, but just trimming it up. The pictures that I've seen of Plo Koon have he's got the wide part of the belt, and then it's got a thin strip of lighter color fabric or leather down the middle. So that is what we are doing here. We are cutting out, and in the end, that's what I did. Is I didn't want to use those other strips that I cut, and so I cut out some different strips, and then I needed just a little bit more, so I trimmed one of the first ones. We are having fabulous weather here where we are. So I was able to take these outside and spray them down with a plastic coat, let them dry for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I came through with my ball of tinfoil and I just kind of rock it back and forth. I let that dry for several hours outside because it is only in the 50s. If it was warmer, it probably would have dried faster. Now, here I am applying the very first coat of espresso bean. And then I picked just like your regular yellow. Um, I was expecting more like the dark espresso for it to show through more. And it did not. I put a second coat of the espresso on the wide part of the belt. And then after I let it dry a little bit longer because it was still too damp right away when I got done, I put just a very light coat of the espresso bean over the yellow part, and it really ended up being about the color that I wanted it to be. I was very happy with the result. Sometimes you just have to try things. So, after I let it all dry, I picked a stitch that would bring them together at the seam and lined it up and then stitched just this little part here. I had to roll up the end of the part for the middle part of the belt to keep it from catching. I just use like an office binder clip. It works great. Now, the first stitch that I did, I didn't quite go down far enough or up top far enough. I was afraid I was going to run off. So I ended up basically sewing this part twice. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing on the main part of the belt using that same stitch. And I'm keeping everything else normal. I'm keeping the tension and the stitch length medium. Now, since these stitches were going to be more visible, I tried to choose a stitch that was going to be more ornamental. And then I just tried to keep it in the center as much as possible. And then when I got done, I did check the length, and I'm going to tell you my advice for measuring twice and cutting once is because if my dad gains any weight, I'm going to have to put an extension on the belt, and that is totally on me. Um, but actually, I've been very proud of him. He's been working on losing weight. Yay, daddy. So now here we are. I'm just going to trim off the excess strings, and there we go. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I'm so sorry it was late. I had some technical difficulties. Uh, Next week, we shall continue our road to Planet Comic-Con by beginning construction on the Plo Koon mask. I'm not going to commit to getting this one done in 1 week because I don't want to rush it. This is my dad's cosplay costume for Planet Comic-Con. Like and subscribe. Thank you all for all your support.